And I've just formed a relationship with my inner critic. I call mine Miss Meddler. And I'll just say to Miss Meddler, thanks a lot. I know that you're there to try and keep me safe and keep me small, but today I'm going big. Building Preceda 360 has been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And when people see the Academy now, the different programs and the community and the National Coaching Conference and the team, they're seeing the result of years of work and decisions, mistakes and learnings along the way. So in this video, I want to talk honestly about what it's actually like to build something like this. Not the polished version, but the real version.
When you started Preceda 360, what vision did you have for it?
Oh, I remember sitting with one of my clients, a guy called Will. We went for lunch together and I sat down and talked him through the vision. And what I wanted was an organisation that somebody could come to, train as a coach in a really human way, not put any pressure on themselves to be perfect on that journey, but also when they finish the training program, let's say it's a diploma, that they didn't feel like they were on their own. I wanted them to have some continuity, whether that be in our Coach Club community or whether it be through our Business Accelerator, to be able to be successful in the building of their coaching business as well as the development of their coaching craft. And I remember sitting with Will and talking him through the fact that I wanted to have the programs that would teach them how to be a coach, the program that would teach them how to start their coaching business, the community that would support them in a non-competitive and yet collaborative way, and this feeling that they belong to something.
Did you know it would grow into what it is today?
I kind of had the hope that it would. You know, I remember sitting down and putting my numbers in terms of what I wanted year on year in terms of growth. I had this little bubbling belief that I'd be able to make it happen, but it was always underpinned with doubt. But I just had this sense that if I did the right thing in the right way, and if I showed up in a human way, then people that were right for us would be attracted in. And that's been the case.
At what point did you realise it was becoming something bigger?
I think after the second cohort of our advanced practitioner, when we'd then got 22 coaches through the program. And what was happening was that group of people were asking us about what was next. So they were really excited for the development and launch of the master practitioner. They'd joined the Coach Club and they were raving about it to other people. And they were also telling me about the wins that they were getting with their clients. That the thing that I was really good at, delivering the Preceda way one-to-one with my clients, was also now happening for them. It wasn't an Angela effect. It was something that was accessible to any coach. They could come and learn it. They could go and do the thing with their clients, and their clients would get great outcomes too.
As Preceda has grown, how do you safeguard the integrity of the brand?
There's such a good question, because I've got to say it's really hard. And I am a bit of a control freak around it too, because it's really important to me that the Preceda methodology doesn't become something like NLP, where, you know, anybody can go and do it. You can get a course for £19 that tells you how to be an NLP practitioner. And therefore there are different levels of quality in how people are applying that in the marketplace. And I don't want that for Preceda. So we have a really strong agreement in place with the people that we coach and train that they can utilize anything that we teach them, but they need to do it in the way that it was initially designed, and they need to reference Preceda. We have programs now where we train facilitators in how to deliver our content, and they can do that under license. And we regularly meet with them to make sure that we can maintain the quality. It's a really important part of Preceda for me, because quality is in the heart of everything that we do.
How do you maintain the quality as the Academy expands?
Well, I've had 20 years in business transformation, and at the heart of that was continuous improvement. And that is really in my bones. It's the way that I work. So after every single cohort that we run, we get the voice of our clients, we understand what we could do better, what we could do differently, and we do a review and feed in the changes. And not only do we feed in the changes for the next program, but we also let those that have been through the program previously see those changes so that they can benefit from the improvements that we've made. I think it's really important to work with your clients and understand what it is that they want and need. And from that position, then the quality is always there.
What standards matter most to you when it comes to the work?
It's a funny one, this, because we're not about perfection. So I've mentioned that we are about continuous improvement, but I don't do perfection and we don't do it on purpose. So we ask our clients to notice our mistakes and to let us know about them. And every time they notice a mistake, we put money in a pot for the Dementia Friendship Club, a charity that we've supported from the outset. And what that means is we can be less concerned about perfect and instead think about progress. Our clients are involved in the quality control, and we also are doing great things. So for me, that's a standard, albeit an unusual one. And then the second thing for me about standards is about showing up as the founder in a really human way. That means that the people that we coach and teach don't feel like they have to be perfect. So I often show the side of me that feels doubt. I often talk about the mistakes that I've made. I often encourage this essence of being a good enough coach rather than a perfect one. And again, that might sound like an unusual standard because it's not striving to be the best, but actually in being imperfect, you can really help people feel like they belong.
When you have a lot of ideas, how do you prioritize which ones to pursue?
Oh, I mean, it's funny, when I worked in corporate, I was never the ideas person. But what I found from working for myself and now having a team is that ideas keep me awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. They come more and more, and I feel much more creative than I ever did before. But there is a problem with that because we're living in a world where there's just so much information. So ideas are sparked, and it can be really easy to go off course from the main strategic plan or from, the things that we're supposed to do that month. And with ADHD, it makes it even worse, right? Because I can see the next shiny thing and be all over it. So I have to be really disciplined around what is our intention for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. And is this thing that I'm being attracted to, or this idea that I've just had, going to take me away and the team away from making that happen? And sometimes we've got to put things down, and that's okay. But we have to be really careful about picking up too many things, because I think the other thing that does is just confuse the client. So it's very clear in our strategic plan what we're doing, when and how we're growing. And I just come back to that to make sure that I don't go off piste.
What have you learned about delegation while growing Pasita 360?
Oh, delegation, what a word. I mean, I do like to control things. I do like to know what's going on. And I think when you run a business, there's a real danger in that. When I had large teams before, delegation was really easy. But in your own business, it's like your heart is right in the center of it, beating away. And you want to make sure that your heart keeps beating. So it's very easy to take everything on and to not let go. But as the business is growing, I'm learning that if I have the right people around me that I trust and that hold Pasita 360 with the same intent that I do, then it's easy to let go. So I've got great people around me that I trust. We have a wonderful way of working as a team. We utilize tools like Slack and like Trello to help us manage our workload. And we're regularly in touch with each other in a way that just makes the work. So I find it much easier now to maybe not let go, but to hold on more lightly.
How has building a team changed the way that you work?
I think it's freed me up to do more of the stuff that adds the most value to our business. So one of my mentors always used to talk about the £20 jobs. Are you doing the £20 jobs? Because you should be working on the things that are going to drive the business forward, creation of the programs, working with your clients, etc. So building a team of trusted people who are much better at those things, like the digital journey or the administration or the loading of the emails into our email system, having the people that are better at that than me means that I'm freed up to do the stuff that I'm best at. And that ultimately is helping the business to grow and thrive.
How do you handle your inner critic when making big decisions?
I mean, it's heavy, isn't it, the inner critic? And mine is particularly loud. It's always there telling me that I'm going to mess it up, that I can't do it. Who am I to have all of these grand ideas? And I've just formed a relationship with my inner critic. I call mine Miss Meddler. I would absolutely recommend that you give your inner critic a name. And I'll just say to Miss Meddler, thanks a lot. I know that you're there to try and keep me safe and keep me small, but today I'm going big. And I'd then just focus back on the vision. What is it I'm meant to be doing and why am I doing it? And then I make it happen.
What motivates you to keep building and growing Pasida 360?
So there's a bit of a double-edged sword here, because I know from old that I am a striver. I like striving for the next thing. And for many years, I would achieve stuff and not even noticed I'd achieved it because I'd be on to the next thing. So I know that that's part of my makeup, and I need to make sure that the building of Pasida isn't being driven by that. So instead, what I look at is what are the ripples that Pasida is creating? What is it allowing other people to do and achieve? How are they feeling about that? And what difference is it making? And for me, that's the bit that keeps me motivated. I've got very clear plans of where I want Pasida to go and the difference I want it to make. And it's not to be, a 10 million or 20 million pound business. For me, that isn't what I want. I want to have a business that creates loads of quality interventions that make a difference in this world and teaches coaches to feel like they are a good enough coach as part of that. If I really hook into that, everything feels good.
How do you maintain your passion for the work?
I mean, most days I do feel really passionate about it because I'm surrounded by people in our community who are out there making it happen and feeling good about it. I think also I'm surrounded by people who are cheering me on. We have like pom-pom shaking in Pasida. We're always celebrating wins, and I feel like I'm surrounded by this wave of people who want it to happen. So that allows me to maintain that passion and that motivation because I'm surrounded by cheerleaders. I am a cheerleader. The work makes a difference. So on those days when I think, could I move to Scotland and just escape from it all? I remind myself that there is something bigger than me about this, and that feels really good.
What keeps the work feeling meaningful for you?
I think it's because we're not transactional. So the coaching isn't grow model style coaching. It's not where are you now? Where do you want to be? How do we close the gap? It's so much deeper than that. So in a session with a client, one of our coaches who's been trained with us can sit with their clients and understand the root cause of a moment that is creating unhelpful behavior today. And that root cause is often when they were 7 years old in the classroom being told by the teacher that they've just made a mistake in their spellings. And all of the class laugh and there's a humiliation moment that is still with them as a 45-year-old person in the boardroom. And what we're able to do is to disconnect those two events so that the fight, flight, freeze response isn't happening anymore. That work is so deep and meaningful. The impact that it has on the individual and their life and their ability to tap into the real them rather than the masked them is so much better than set a goal, hit a goal. It really is life-changing. And for me, that meaning is better than anything else I've ever done in my life.
When you work with organizations, what have you learned about navigating their corporate dynamics?
It's tricky because at Pasida, we're all about being human, taking off the mask. And organizations are full of masked people. So what do? Do you go into the organization to fit in as the coach? Do you show up as a version of them with your mask on, it's really tempting because it's really easy to win the work that way. But for me, I need to role model what those people could become and how they can take the mask off and what that will mean. So there's a discord there because I've got to show up human, which is exposing, in order for them to know where they could get to. And that's been a sort of a dichotomy really that I've had to juggle over the last few years. But I say to myself every night before I go to bed, have I been congruent today with the real me? And if I haven't, what's got in the way of that? And through that lens, I'm able to test myself around what causes incongruence, what causes the mask wearing. And I'm really committed to making sure that I'm as authentic as possible in every situation, whether that be corporate or not. So I've got to hold myself to that.
What advice would you give to coaches working with organizations?
I mean, advice is a funny thing, isn't it? I think I draw on my experience, which is I've learned that if you put the notebook down and you stop showing up in that really corporate way, corporates will embrace you. If you are real, if you're human, if you're honest about what you're seeing, they will embrace it. So I'd say just go in and be you. Remember that you need to find joy in your work every day. And if you're pretending when you're in that setting, as a self-employed coach, it's a hiding for nothing really. So be you and get some joy from your work.
What helps you move forward when things feel uncertain?
I think uncertainty is something that most people fear. We don't like uncertainty. So what I've learned is being a strategist often means that you want to know how everything is going to work. And I do have a vision and lots of plans for the business in that regard. But what I try to do is just focus on what's the first next step that I need to take. And that seems to take all of the fear away and help me focus on getting the stuff done. Building Pasida 360 has been a journey of learning, leadership, and constant evolution. And while people often see the finished product, the real work happens in the decisions that you make along the way. Decisions about standards, about values, about people and trust, and the kind of impact that you want to create.